Hello, friends, and welcome back to Eclectic Knowledge and our show Compelling Stories for a Dinner Party. I'm your host, Christopher James, and tonight we'll contemplate the mysterious disappearance of 3 lighthouse keepers. We'll explore the discovery of a prehistoric artifact that shouldn't exist, and we'll learn about a woman who was stranded by herself for 2 years in the Arctic and survived. So grab a drink of your choosing, try the deviled eggs, and let's get into it. The Flannan Isles, a remote cluster of rocks in the Atlantic, became the center of a perplexing enigma in December 1900. 3 men, James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, vanished without a trace from the lighthouse they were tasked to keep alight. The seasoned keepers were sentinels of the sea, guiding vessels away from the perilous embrace of the Isles, but their light, one fateful night, faltered and faded into darkness. The first sign of trouble came when the steamer Arctur, cutting through the tempest from Philadelphia, found its way unguided by the expected beam of light. Upon its arrival in life, the ominous silence from the lighthouse was reported, setting a chilling prelude for what was to be discovered. Battling the wrath of the Atlantic, the relief vessel Hesperus reached Eileen Moor, only to be greeted by an eerie calm. The flagstaff stood bare, the provision boxes untouched, and an unsettling silence enveloped the isle. Joseph Moore, the relief keeper, set foot on the island, his heart heavy with foreboding. The lighthouse door was closed, the beds unmade, the clock unwound. The keepers had vanished into the ether. A set of oilskins found, one missing, hinted at a hasty departure or perhaps a struggle against the elements. The lighthouse, with its lamps cleaned and refilled, stood as a silent witness to the keepers' meticulous duty. Their fate, however, an unfathomable mystery. The island bore the scars of a recent tempest. At the west landing, evidence of nature's fury was unmistakable. Railings twisted, a heavy rock displaced, the very earth torn away from the cliff's edge. Yet of the men there was no sign, no clue to their fate. Robert Muirhead, familiar with the souls he had sent to man this lonely outpost, arrived to piece together the puzzle. His conclusions spoke of a tragic attempt to secure their gear against the storm's might, a decision that may have swept them into the abyss. The disappearance ignited a blaze of speculation and folklore. Tales of sea serpents, ghostly vessels, and foreign spies filled the air, each more fantastical than the last. Of the many theories and speculations that resulted from the disappearance of the lighthouse keepers, a few have garnered plausibility. The massive wave theory. The massive wave theory claims a freak wave spawned by the storm rose up over the island in some capacity and swept the men off their feet and carried them away into the raging sea. The west landing of Eileen Moor, characterized by its narrow gullies, was notably damaged, with evidence suggesting violent storm conditions. The displacement of a large rock and the damage to iron railings well above sea level imply an extraordinary force, consistent with a massive wave theory. There was also historical precedent to suggest the men may have attempted to secure their gear during the onset of a sudden storm. Recently in his career, Marshall had been reprimanded and fined for losing some of his equipment during a storm. This prior incident could suggest that the keepers ventured out to secure their tools, underestimating the wave's magnitude. However, detractors of the theory point out that the lighthouse's elevation at 150 feet above sea level should have offered sufficient protection against even the most violent sea swells, making the likelihood of a wave reaching the keepers seem improbable, as well as the fact that the closed door and gate at the lighthouse compound suggest that the keepers had safely returned inside before whatever event led to their disappearance, contradicting the idea that they were swept away while outside. There is also speculation about a violent fight or psychotic break. People who believe this idea like to acknowledge that Donald MacArthur was known to have a volatile temperament, and such tendencies could have led to a confrontation among the keepers, especially under the stress of isolation and adverse weather conditions. A fight breaking out near the cliff edge could have tragically resulted in all three men falling to their deaths. The absence of any bodies could be explained by the sea washing them away, consistent with accidents involving falls from cliffs. However, those who do not agree with this possibility highlight the fact that the keepers were experienced professionals known to have good working relationships. Therefore, a violent conflict severe enough to lead to their deaths seems less likely. Not to mention the meticulous state of the lighthouse, with tasks like lamp cleaning completed, suggests that any disruption to their routine occurred suddenly and unexpectedly, not necessarily aligning with a build-up to a physical altercation. And there are those that look to geology and natural weather phenomenon for an answer. The unique geography of Eileen Moor, with its geos and caves, could create unexpected and dangerous conditions even for experienced keepers, particularly if a series of large waves were funneled into a geo with devastating force. The specific damage observed at the West Landing could indicate that environmental factors, rather than human actions, played a significant role in the keeper's fate. But this theory also requires you to acknowledge that while the geography could produce dangerous conditions, the keeper's training and experience should have made them well aware of these risks, making it less likely that they would have put themselves in harm's way, especially under known dangerous conditions. The intact state of the rest of the island and lighthouse, coupled with the keeper's routine up until their disappearance, suggests that any environmental threat would have had to be both sudden and unprecedented to catch them off guard. Of course, there are supernatural theories as well. One supernatural theory involves the Phantom of the Seven Hunters, a spectral entity said to hunt the Flannan Isles. Local lore and legends often attribute inexplicable events to malevolent spirits, and the sudden disappearance of the three keepers could easily fall into such narratives. Another theory posits that a sea serpent or some other mythical sea creature was responsible for the keeper's disappearance. The seas around Scotland are rich with legends of monsters and mythical beings, the most famous being the Loch Ness Monster. A creature from the depths could have emerged and taken them in, leaving the lighthouse abandoned. Some have speculated that the keepers stumbled upon a portal or gateway to another dimension or world. This theory suggests that something about the location or the lighthouse itself may have been a focal point for supernatural or extraterrestrial energies, resulting in the men being transported to another place or time, far beyond the reach of any search efforts. There is even an explanation that involves ghost ships, specters of vessels doomed to sail the oceans forever. The theory posits that a ghost ship appeared off the coast of the Flannan Isles, and the keepers, either voluntarily or forcibly, went aboard, never to return to the mortal world. Clearly, theories abound. What's missing are concrete answers. Decades have passed, yet the mystery endures, a haunting testament to the sea's unfathomable depths and the courage of those who dare to keep its watch. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse, a beacon of both guidance and mystery, continues to cast its light, though its keepers' voices have long been silenced by the whispers of the waves. What are your thoughts on the disappearance of the three lighthouse keepers? What do you think happened to them? Do you think we'll ever find the true answer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're there, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like what we're doing, hit that like button and let us know. This is the story of the Nebra sky disk, an artifact that challenges our understanding of prehistoric humanity's relationship with the cosmos and the celestial wisdom of our ancestors. In the heart of Europe, buried beneath the earth for over 3 millennia, lay a secret from the Bronze Age waiting to be revealed. And on a fateful evening in July 1999, the quiet expanse of the Mittelberg Hill, near Nebra in Saxony-Anhalt, Germany, was about to reveal one of its deepest secrets. Two treasure hunters, Henry Westphal and Mario Renner, armed with illicit metal detectors, were about to stumble upon an object that would stir the archaeological world to its core. Guided by whispers of ancient treasures buried in the area, they scoured the land, their equipment suddenly signaling the presence of metal beneath the earth. As they dug through the soil, their efforts were rewarded, not with gold or jewels, but with a mysterious bronze disc, adorned with gold leaf. Alongside it lay swords, axes, and bracelets, a hoard that spoke of a long-forgotten ritual or offering. Unaware of its true significance, the finders saw not an artifact of astronomical importance, but a ticket to wealth. The treasure hunters, operating outside the bounds of legal archaeology, opted to sell their find on the black market. The Nebra sky disk and its accompanying artifacts changed hands among shadowy figures, their historical and cultural value obscured by greed. The authorities, alerted to this illicit trade, embarked on a meticulous investigation. By 2002, through a mix of detective work and scholarly endeavor, they traced the artifacts to a collector in Basel, Switzerland. In a sting operation that seemed more fitting for a spy thriller than an archaeological recovery, the disc was seized and the full magnitude of the find began to unfold. The return of the disc to German soil marked the beginning of an exhaustive scientific examination. Archaeologists, astronomers, and metallurgists converged on the artifact, each eager to unlock its secrets. The illegal circumstances of its discovery, while initially a hindrance, eventually led to a greater appreciation of the need for legal and ethical standards in archaeology, turning the Nebra sky disk into a symbol of both human ingenuity and the complexities of cultural heritage preservation. Measuring about 30 centimeters in diameter and weighing roughly 2 kilograms, the disc features a blue-green patina and is inlaid with gold symbols. These symbols are interpreted as the sun or full moon, a lunar crescent, and stars, including a cluster thought to represent the Pleiades, which appears in the night sky even today, linking us directly with our Bronze Age forebears. Radiocarbon dating of birch bark found alongside the disk dated it to around 1600 BCE. But the disk's significance extends far beyond its age. The intricate gold inlays are not merely decorative. They provide a map of the heavens. The cluster of 7 dots has been identified as the Pleiades, a group of stars that held special significance for tracking the seasons and agricultural cycles in ancient times. But the disk's mysteries do not end with its depiction of the night sky. 2 golden arcs along the sides were later additions, suggesting that the disk's use evolved over time. These arcs span 82 degrees, which closely matches the angle between the positions of sunset at the summer and winter solstices at the latitude of Miltenberg Hill. This has led some scholars to propose that the disk may have been used as an advanced astronomical instrument, perhaps to coordinate the solar and lunar calendars essential for agriculture. In the context of Bronze Age Europe, such a sophisticated understanding of celestial movements challenges previous underestimations of prehistoric astronomical knowledge. For centuries, our understanding of Bronze Age civilizations was framed by the assumption that these societies, while innovative, were limited in their scientific and cosmological understanding. The narrative often painted them as cultures primarily focused on survival, with rudimentary forms of religion and art, but lacking in complex scientific knowledge or astronomical observation. This perception was grounded in the tangible evidence of the time: tools, dwellings, and burial sites that spoke of a life engaged with the earth. with metal, with the tangible. The intellectual pursuits of these ancient peoples, particularly in fields like astronomy, were thought to be basic, guided more by myth and superstition than by systematic observation and analysis. Enter the Nebra sky disk, a find that would turn these assumptions on their head. Here was concrete evidence that Bronze Age societies were not just passive observers of the sky, but were actively engaging with it, mapping it, and perhaps even using it to guide agricultural and ceremonial practices. The disk suggests a society that looked upwards, that sought to understand the patterns of the heavens, and that possessed the intellectual curiosity and technological capability to immortalize those observations in bronze and gold. In the context of what we once believed, the Nebra sky disk is a paradigm-shifting artifact. It's a bridge across millennia, connecting us with a past that was more advanced and interconnected than previously imagined. This disk rewrites not just the history of astronomy, but of human capacity for complex thought, challenging us to reconsider not just what we know of the Bronze Age, but of the trajectory of human knowledge itself. Yet the Nebra sky disk is not without its controversies. Debates among archaeologists about its exact use, the meaning of its symbols, and even its authenticity have only added layers to its mystique. Despite these debates, the disk was recognized by UNESCO in 2013 for its significant contribution to the understanding of our shared human heritage. The UNESCO Memory of the World program aims to preserve significant documentary heritage of global relevance. The Nebra sky disk's inclusion highlights its importance as a cultural artifact that offers insights into the beliefs, scientific understanding, and cosmological observations of Bronze Age Europe. The Nebra sky disk remains an enigmatic symbol of our ancient past, a luminous bridge between the Earth and the stars. It invites us to ponder the depths of human ingenuity and our eternal quest to understand the cosmos. As we gaze upon the same night sky that inspired its creation over 3,600 years ago, we are reminded of the timeless human desire to capture the divine, to hold a piece of the infinite in our hands. What do you think of the Nebra sky disk? Were we wrong about our ancestors in the past? Or is the Nebra sky disk just a beautiful piece of art and nothing more? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're there, be sure and like and subscribe. Deep in the heart of the Arctic, where the cold pierces through the bravest of souls, lies our final story for the evening. A tale of survival, courage, and the indomitable human spirit. This is the story of Ada Blackjack, an Inupiat woman who faced the unimaginable and emerged as a symbol of sheer resilience. So let's pour some tea and pass the dessert as we unravel the gripping saga of Ada Blackjack, the real-life female Robinson Crusoe. Born in the remote outskirts of Alaska, Ada's childhood was abruptly shadowed by tragedy when her father died of food poisoning when she was just 8 years old. This event marked the beginning of a series of hardships that would test Ada's spirit and resilience. Following her father's death, Ada's mother, grappling with the loss and the harsh realities of their environment, made the difficult decision to send Ada and her sister Rita to a Methodist mission school in Nome, Alaska. At the mission school, Ada was introduced to a world vastly different from the one she knew. Here, she was raised by missionaries who imparted to her skills that were foreign yet crucial for survival in a rapidly changing Alaska: reading English and sewing. These skills would later prove to be her lifeline, but at the time they symbolized a departure from her cultural roots and a childhood interrupted by loss and displacement. At the age of 16, Ada married Jack Blackjack, a former hunter and dog sled driver whose life was intertwined with the harsh realities of the Alaskan wilderness. Far from wedded bliss, the marriage quickly descended into a quagmire of despair. Jack was abusive towards Ada, casting a long, dark shadow over their life together. The couple was blessed with 3 children, but only one, a son named Bennett, survived past infancy. Eventually, Jack, failing in his responsibilities and duties as a husband and father, deserted Ada and Bennett. This abandonment left Ada in a dire situation, struggling to fend for herself and her ailing son, suffering from tuberculosis. She was alone in the unforgiving Alaskan environment. With a resolve as cold and unyielding as the Alaskan winters, Ada made the courageous decision to obtain a divorce, severing ties with Jack before he could return. She then walked 40 miles to Nome with Bennett in tow, determined to carve out a better future. There she performed menial jobs, cleaning houses and sewing clothes for miners, yet she struggled to make ends meet. Bennett's tuberculosis treatment was beyond her financial reach, forcing her to make the heart-wrenching decision to place him in the Jesse Lee Home for Children, which promised better care for his condition. Despite the relentless barrage of challenges, Ada's spirit remained unbroken. Her determination to reunite with her son and provide for him fueled for her every action. When the opportunity to join an Arctic expedition presented itself, Ada saw it as a means to an end, a chance to secure a financial future for Bennett. In 1921, lured by the desperate need for money, Ada joined an expedition led by the ambitious explorer Vilhjalmur Stefansson. Their mission? To claim the desolate Wrangle Island for Canada. Little did Ada know this journey would test the very limits of her endurance. The early days of Ada Blackjack's expedition on Wrangle Island began with a deceptive sense of adventure and hope. Alongside 4 companions, Ada stepped onto the rugged terrain of the Arctic island, carrying the weight of her personal struggles and a fervent desire to secure a better future for her son. The team, led by Canadian explorer Alan Crawford and backed by the ambitious visions of Vilhjalmur Stefansson, was tasked with a speculative mission to claim the island for Canada. Ada, primarily enlisted as a seamstress and cook, found herself in a landscape that was as breathtaking as it was unforgiving. However, as weeks turned into months, the harsh realities of their environment began to surface. The team's initial supplies were adequate, but the island's limited resources quickly challenged their survival skills. Hunting proved difficult. The island's game was sparse and elusive, making it increasingly hard to supplement their dwindling food supplies. The brutal Arctic weather, with its biting cold and unpredictable storms, added layers of difficulty to their daily existence. The turning point came after the first year, when it became evident that their situation was unsustainable. The team's leader, Crawford, along with Maurer and Gall, made the harrowing decision to cross the treacherous 90-mile frozen Chukchi Sea to Siberia in search of help and supplies. This decision was not made lightly. It was born out of desperation, a last-ditch effort to save themselves and Ada from an impending doom as their food supply neared exhaustion and their hopes of timely rescue faded. Ada, tasked with caring for the now ailing Lorne Knight, who was suffering from scurvy, was left behind. Eventually, Knight succumbed to scurvy, leaving Ada totally alone against the Arctic's merciless embrace. As the Arctic winter closed in, Ada Blackjack found herself in a situation that would break even the strongest of wills. Alone, in the vast expanse of Wrangle Island, her companions gone, Ada faced the raw forces of nature with nothing but her wit and will to survive. With no prior survival training, Ada's transformation into a self-reliant survivor is a testament to the human instinct to endure. Each day brought new challenges, from the biting cold to the constant threat of starvation. Yet Ada rose to meet those challenges head on. Her initial days were fraught with fear and uncertainty. Ada relied heavily on the remaining provisions and the shelter left by the expedition. But as the reality of her isolation set in, she knew she had to venture beyond the confines of her camp to survive. Ada taught herself to hunt and trap, a skill that was crucial for her survival. With crude weapons and traps, she began to catch the island's foxes, her primary source of food and warmth. Each successful hunt was not just a meal, it was a victory against the creeping shadow of despair. Using the skills taught by missionaries, Ada turned the furs of her catches into clothing and reinforced her shelter against the relentless Arctic winds. Her sewing skills, once a means to provide for her son, now became her lifeline, protecting her from the extreme cold. But the physical challenges paled in comparison to the mental and emotional toll of her isolation. Ada chronicled her struggles in a diary, a poignant testament to her loneliness and unwavering hope for rescue. Her words, etched with the longing for her son and the pain of her solitude, offered a glimpse into the depths of her courage. Ada never gave up hope of rescue. She devised ingenious ways to signal for help, crafting distress signals on the island's vast expanse. Each day she scanned the horizon for signs of a ship, her hope undimmed by the endless passing of days. As the summer of 1923 dawned on the Arctic, the winds of fate began to shift for Ada Blackjack. Ada's salvation came in the form of a relief expedition led by Harold Noyce, an experienced Arctic explorer and a former colleague of Wilhelmer Stephenson, the man who had organized the original ill-fated expedition. Stephenson, having faced criticism for the expedition's outcome, was determined to find out the fate of the party he had sent to Wrangle Island. Noyce, along with a small crew, set sail from Alaska, driven by a mix of duty and the hope of finding survivors. Their journey was fraught with the same dangers that had beset the original expedition: treacherous seas, unpredictable weather, and the omnipresent threat of sea ice. On August 19, 1923, the rescue team approached Wrangle Island. The sight that greeted them was one of desolation, the island seemingly devoid of human life. But as they drew closer, a figure emerged from the landscape: Ada Blackjack, standing alone against the backdrop of the Arctic wilderness. The rescue was a moment of profound relief and disbelief for Ada. She had endured unimaginable hardships, her hope of seeing her son again the only thing sustaining her through the darkest hours. The sight of Noyce and his team was the realization of that hope, the end of her ordeal at last within reach. From the silent, snow-swept expanses of Wrangle Island, Ada Blackjack stepped back into the world, a world unprepared for her story, and a world she was unprepared to face. Her survival, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity, catapulted her to a fame she never sought. Dubbed the female Robinson Crusoe, Ada's harrowing tale of survival captivated the public imagination. But beneath the veneer of sensational headlines lay a woman yearning for simplicity, a mother whose heart ached for reunion and quietude with her son Bennett. The glare of the spotlight was a stark contrast to the solitude of the island. Ada, inherently private, found herself ensnared in a media circus, her story no longer her own. The very narrative of her survival, sensationalized and exploited, became a commodity for those who saw in her tale an opportunity for profit. Ada received but a fraction of the wealth her story generated. The hands that penned her tale often did so without her consent, painting a picture far removed from the stark realities she faced. Her voice, her truth, drowned in the clamor of sensationalism. In the quiet moments away from the flashing cameras and prying questions, Ada yearned for a return to a life unencumbered by fame, a life where the simple joy of being with her son, far from the relentless demands of the public eye, was all she sought. Her spirit, tempered by the fierce Arctic winds and the solitude of the island, yearned for nothing more than tranquility and the warmth of family. Soon, Ada found love once again, leading her down the aisle into the arms of a new partner, with whom she embraced the joys and challenges of marriage and motherhood anew. Together, they welcomed a new son, Billy, into their fold, a beacon of hope and a symbol of their shared future. The bond between Ada and her firstborn, Bennett, remained unyielding, a testament to a mother's enduring love and the sacrifices she bore. Their journey, marred by early separation and the shadow of illness, was a poignant reminder of the indomitable will that coursed through Ada's veins. The call of the Arctic, the very cradle of her most formidable trial, eventually beckoned Ada home. It was here, amidst the whispering winds and the vast, untouched wilderness, that Ada found her sanctuary, a place where the echoes of her past merged with the promise of peace. In May of 1983, Ada Blackjack's final chapter closed in the quiet solitude of Alaska, far from the chaos and the triumphs of her earlier years. Her resting place, marked by a simple plaque, stands as a silent homage to a woman whose life was a mosaic of incredible survival, profound love, and the ceaseless quest for serenity. Ada's legacy, woven through the fabric of her trials and triumphs, continues to inspire, a timeless narrative of the strength of the human spirit against the backdrop of the world's most unforgiving landscapes. We hope you enjoyed these chronicles this evening. It's not often you hear about a 124-year-old missing persons case, a Bronze Age relic that changed history, and an incredible Arctic survival tale all in one night. But that's what we did. If you enjoyed yourself tonight, please be sure to like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on our channel as well. We hope to see you at the table again next time. Until then, my friends, may your gatherings always be eclectic and your stories compelling. Thanks for watching. Good night.